Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown is finally here, and we talked about it in our Unwise Hype video, expressing our excitement back then. So the question is, does the game meet our expectations? Alright, let me put it this way. It's been a long time since I played a good Metroidvania that is not only fun to play, but also sparks some joy, igniting childhood memories. But hey, I'm not trying to get sentimental here, and to be fair, I've played some decent Metroidvania games as well, such as the Ori series, Hollow Knight, Dead Cells, etc. But let me tell you, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown is a fantastic platforming game that you should play, or at the very least, give it a try, if you're not a fan of platforming games. What's up, guys? It's me, BDK. Today on Unwise Review, we're going to talk about Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. Without further ado, let's get to it. First of all, I want to express how surprised I am with Ubisoft's decision this time around. Well, if you're like me, who has played almost all Assassin's Creed or Far Cry series, we all know too well that Ubisoft game designs have become very familiar lately. You know, all big open-world maps, plenty but mundane stuff to do. But no, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown is not like that. It feels like playing Ubisoft games back in the 2000 era. Everything feels strangely fresh and satisfying. I can safely say that this game is paying a lot of attention and respect to its predecessors. The gameplay is, well, just like any other platforming game. It's fairly simple. You move from one location to another, facing various enemy types along the way, and finally, you fight the boss. Nothing is groundbreaking or anything, no. But the way the game progresses and reveals its content is something I really like here. Well, at first, you get your basic moves such as running, sliding, ground combo, air combo, and parrying. Then, as the story is revealed, you gain more and more equipment or skills, typical in Metroidvania games like double jump, dashing midair, and of course, your own unparryable attack move. The controls feel very snappy and on point, and the way your character moves is very fluid and acrobatic. With these simple moves, you can actually dominate any type of enemies, as long as you master each combo and remember the types of your enemies. Because the lesser enemies could still kill you easily if you're not careful, especially if they all gang up on you together. The enemy variation is plenty and uniquely designed. We have the typical first entry enemy, like the slow-moving one that's easy to counter, the one with the shield, which you can break or attack from behind. Then, you'll encounter typical harassers like archers or flying monsters that can disrupt your combo, the big one, and many more. All I can say about the enemy variation is that you'll never get bored and will constantly feel the need to be ready. Just when you think you can handle one or two, suddenly you face another type of enemy that loves to teleport away from you. Things like that. In addition to that, there's a little bit of a character development system, which frankly fits perfectly into this game. You can get various upgrades, ranging from a permanent health bar and increased attack damage to more slots for your amulet. And yes, there's an amulet, a simple but satisfying passive buff for your character that can also be upgraded as you progress further. As you become stronger and learn more acrobatic moves, you'll backtrack to previous locations you couldn't reach in the first playthrough. Ubisoft introduced something new that I respect a lot, a memory system. Technically, it's a screenshot of your current location marked on your map. So if you find yourself in situations where you think you will return later, you can simply mark it on your map, and a visual reference, or yes, a screenshot of it will appear. A simple but very useful mechanic that honestly should have already been implemented in other Metroidvania games. Because to be honest, the map they provided is huge. I guarantee you'll get lost easily, especially if you're new to this kind of game. Speaking of which, we haven't talked about the bosses. Of course, you'll fight huge bosses because no battle is more satisfying than fighting them. So far, I have encountered two categories of bosses. A lesser boss, which can be defeated easily and is mostly posted between new areas, and then the big boss, which eventually progresses the main story further. Fighting them is actually need more strategy and stronger character upgrade. And hopefully it doesn't require us, well, me, to buy a new controller. Well, yeah, because admittedly, I'm kinda sucks. The level design is also varied and carefully made. Not just pleasant to look at, but also subtly hints that you're about to face a different type of enemy. So you can prepare yourself, like what kind of combo you're going to use against enemies in this area, what amulet is better to be equipped, and so on. All in all, I really love the way this game is presented with its classic 2D platforming mechanics. You can move easily and aim accurately at which ledge you're about to jump to. There's no trashy enemy lock, just simple fighting with satisfying moves. And let's talk about the art direction, which in my opinion is very satisfying and pleasant to enjoy. From character design, color palette, the visual effects, the music, everything about this game presentation is very easy to love. Again, not typical of your recent Ubisoft releases. No fancy RTX graphics required to enjoy this game, as this game also released on Nintendo Switch. And at some degree, I could even say that the texture detail is minimalist and cartoony, which reminds me a lot of Torchlight series. It's not bad at all, it's unique and easy to look at, and also easy on your gaming system. And oh wait, Phoenix is now our Prince of Persia. Ha! Sorry, I couldn't help to point out the similarities between them. Moreover, in my opinion, the art style is also somewhat better than the previous entry. Like Warrior Within, for example, where it's kind of dark, mystical, gritty, and sexy at some degree, which is obviously targeted for a mature audience. While this time around, the game's art style is vibrant and cartoony, somewhat flashy, but there is no real gore, which appeals to a younger and broader audience. Surprisingly, with the chosen visual style, the game still captures the satisfying combat effects, like when you parry the enemy perfectly, a quick cutscene will play, or when you trigger your special attack, all of them presented very quickly and non-disruptive to your gameplay flow. This pleasant visual art style also comes in par with the beautiful sound design. Again, it's not groundbreaking, but very fitting to the game art direction. From the clashing sword, arrow that pierces through your enemy's body, to the bird that chirps every time you're near a secret location, all perfectly blended with the minimalist Persian-themed background music. That being said, while I am perfectly happy with the sound design, I cannot say the same for the voiceover, which we will cover shortly. Now, regarding the narrative part of this game, which is very basic and cliche but acceptable, because honestly, at this point, we already know what this game is all about. But to be frank, this could be better, because in my opinion, there are some missed marks here and there. Like the Sands of Time lore, which are mentioned all over the place, scattered around the narrative, and you can witness the extent of it in the game, but only some of it actually made it to the gameplay mechanics whatsoever. It's like the game wants to acknowledge its predecessor, but is very shy to show it off. There are only several parts of the Sands of Time lore that actually made it into the game. The first one is when you hit the spike, which will return your character to the latest standing position, but with reduced health points. The other is one of the skills which I would not spoil for you. But the point is, the game didn't go deep into the lore. It's like watching Tom Holland's Spider-Man, where there are no parts regarding Uncle Ben because we are assumed to already understand some of the backstory. But to be fair, maybe this is Ubisoft's way of rebooting the series. Maybe, I don't know. Perhaps it's just some part of me that still loves the lore from previous entries. Both ways, to me, the overall narrative of Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown is very straightforward and aimed for broader audiences. So yeah, in a nutshell, every part of the narrative is easy to digest but forgettable. Like, okay, from the opening battle scene through the mountain calf, I bet you can already guess how the story will end. And even if your guess is a miss, it wouldn't hurt because the voice acting in this game is very basic and forgettable. Nothing is really outstanding or makes you want to buy a $1,000 headset just to hear them talking. That being said, it doesn't mean that the characters are not believable, nor the story is really bad. They are just not exceptionally memorable. Like the main character, Sargon. He is quick-witted, strong, agile, and a very reliable warrior, as he is one of the immortals. Well, it's some kind of Persian special unit, but his accent is British. I mean, what? Not that I don't like a British accent, but in my opinion, Sargon's accent should be thick and exotic. Maybe a bit like Basim or Bayek. The same thing also applies to his immortal comrades, which in my opinion, none of them really have an outstanding or memorable voice. Which is very unfortunate because if we know that we're going to get a mediocre story, at the very least we should get memorable voice acting to support the enjoyment of the narrative presented. Moreover, the presence of your comrades is somewhat wasted in my opinion. Yeah, sure, in some parts of the game, they help you in battle. And yeah, there are, of course, side missions related to them, and you can train with one of them. However, I wish there were more backstories related to them, narrated with more believable voice acting and with branching results. Also, in my opinion, the way they are scattered around the map looking for the prince is somewhat absurd, and none of them helps you fight the boss. Dude, what the actual I mean, come on, you're fighting a dangerous boss alone, while they are wandering around? Hilarious. Yet I suppose this part could be overlooked, especially if you're not looking for a story-heavy game and just want to slice monsters and have fun. Ubisoft did good this time. I mean, like, really good. I don't see myself getting bored with this game anytime soon. All the stylish combat, challenging boss fight, simple but engaging map puzzle, the platforming, all wrapped beautifully in vibrant and well-presented art direction. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown is a game that should have been made many years ago, but thankfully it did arrive now. A great linear platforming game that could hook you for hours of adventure while reminiscing about the old day is something that's really rare these days. All can be enjoyed if you can forgive the forgettable narrative and the voice acting, which hopefully can be expected to be better on the next Prince of Persia. And rightfully so. After a great delivery and heading in the right direction, I'm really happy and hopeful for the Prince of Persia franchise in the future. There you have it, guys. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. Did we miss anything? Or maybe you have your own opinion regarding this game. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. If you enjoyed this kind of video, please hit the like button and enable the notifications. If you haven't subscribed yet, doing so would be a great help for us to growing this channel. Have a nice day, and thank you for watching.